Hello students, welcome to this lecture on digital electronics and microprocessors. In this session, we shall discuss about the analog to digital converters, the digital to analog conversion techniques, and also about shift registers. These three topics are necessary for you to hold a good grip on the subject of memories, because these form a part of the memories also. In sequential circuits also they are very widely used. So, we shall begin with these data converters. As part of the analog to digital and digital to analog conversion, we shall discuss about the need for analog to digital and digital to analog conversion, the D2A conversion techniques using R2R ladder network, and how the analog to digital conversion is performed using successive approximation method. The first question arises as if why we require the analog to digital conversion and also the digital to analog conversion. It is necessary because in general the equipment we used will consist of both analog as well as digital signals. Out of this, due to the advantages possessed by the digital and analog signals individually, we prefer some measurements in those parameters only, but at times it will be necessary for us to convert one form of the data to another form. One of those is the measurement in digital form is easier. Students, most of the times in your laboratory work, you should have observed that the measurement of voltages, currents and many other parameters will be easier when we use the digital multimeters and so. When we use the analog multimeters, sometimes we face the problem of parallax error in arriving at the fine measurement, and also at times we may not be able to measure the value on the given scale. So, we may have to go for scaling of the given parameter. So, by observing these, what we find is that the digital multimeters are useful for us, they are more user friendly. So, we find that the measurement in digital form is easier, because most of the physical quantities are analog in nature, but measuring these quantities in digital form is easier than in analog form. These physical quantities may be temperature, heat, voltages, currents and many more. So, the digital form measurement is easier, hence we convert these analog signals to digital form and then measure them in the digital form. Therefore, the analog to digital conversion is required. The second most important aspect is the storage of these values. Suppose that you have measured certain parameter, but you want to store it for future use. When it is in the analog form, the storage will have to be done by making use of capacitors and so. But in long run, these capacitors will leak away the charge possessed by them, and hence the value contained will decrease. Moreover, the analog signals will have instantaneous values. The storage of these instantaneous values is very difficult. Moreover, if they are at higher frequencies, then it is not very easy for us to follow these changes in the instantaneous values. Hence, for storage purpose, we go for the digital signals. If an analog quantity is stored, its value may come down with time, whereas in digital form, we can use the memory cells, the ROM, RAM and all. The memory systems that we have discussed previously will be useful to store these digital data. Hence, to store a given value that should not change with time, we go for the digital form of the values. This is the necessity for analog to digital conversion. As an example, we shall see. Here you can find a telephone signal connected to a computer. Most of the times you should have seen the internet connection at your laboratories. How the wire is coming to the computer. The telephone line is terminated in a device called as modem. What does it do? It converts the analog signals coming over the telephone line into the digital form on which the computer works. So, here in this example you can find that this telephone contains analog signals. Those signals are converted into the digital form by using this analog to digital converter. Those digital signals will be processed by this digital computer. Then why a digital to analog conversion is required? Once the computer performs the required process on the values, the user requires the processed values. Hence, to get back those processed values in their original analog form, we require a back converter, that is the digital to analog converter. So, to get back a quantity processed or stored by the digital system, a digital to analog conversion is required. See here, suppose that some sound or a talk was stored previously in a computer. Now, if we want